Wow. Like, what?
Sitting under the cabana, talking and learning a lot about each other.
Person and their quirks and their differences and their attitudes and their behaviors. Why you're ignoring me.
To me, trying to avoid you.
No connection. We never exchange numbers, nothing.
But I am a firm believer in unconditional love, which means no matter what you do, I will always love you.
I'm not my mom. I'm not my dad. I'm me. It's very special. And I think it's something that
We've had some of our toughest times in the last 2 years.
get out of the relationship that isn't serving you. We journeyed hard, we journeyed fast. The only thing I'm going to regret is not doing the things that I wanted to do. We need to have a little bit more courage to do the things that we need, to say the things that we want, to act on the things. Hey, my loves, welcome back to another episode of Made for More. I really hope by now you are starting to get a feel for the show and excited to join me every single week as I continue to share unfiltered, raw, honest, and powerful conversations with you guys. So far, we have dived into the power of sacred healing and how indecision is a real ball buster. I've also shared more of an insight into my story and journey, and you best believe that we are going to share so many more incredible people and lineups of topics and conversations that are real, unfiltered, with some of the best in the game today. So if you are loving the show so far, you guys, please be sure to subscribe over on YouTube and drop some love and ratings over on the podcast channels. And honestly, to connect with me personally, please don't be scared to drop me a little DM on my Instagram at TaliaWDeJulio, sharing with me what you're loving about the show so far, maybe what you'd love to hear more of. And I'd love to know where in the world you are tuning in from, because I truly want you guys to feel that connecting with many of you is the most important thing to me. All right, which leads me to dropping in and actually asking something I'd love to do more on the show regularly, which is, how are you today? And how's your heart? I think this is such an important question to ask, just to remember that honoring yourself and taking the time to feel your feelings is so, so important. When we actually focus on the magic of the present, it really does bring you right back to your heart space. So be kind to yourself and remember that you are made for more. And today is just another day of possibility and love. All right, this week's episode is one that is super close to my heart because I have someone very special joining me on the mic. He's my best friend, my partner in crime, my biggest mirror, and my now fiancé, and the amazing father to our beautiful baby girl. So I want to introduce you guys and welcome you to my partner in all the ways, Joshua Sparks. And before I pass it over to Joshy, I just want you guys to know that this episode is a little bit different. It's not just going to be a conversation. It's actually a glimpse into our heart and our soul of our sacred union. So we're going to open up and let you guys into the real and raw truth of our love story. One that hasn't always been easy, but has always been rooted in vision and a deep commitment to becoming better, not just individually, but together. We're going to share how we met in our divine synchronicity of how that was. What's it been like navigating parenthood as a team? Oh boy, the wild and beautiful ride of being two entrepreneurs in a romantic partnership, and of course, all the magic and the messy magic in the growth and the hard conversations that we often had, and the purpose that keeps us choosing each other over and over and over again. So, baby, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you.
So I want to dive right in just having you share a little bit about you.
Okay, where to begin? I grew up in California, obviously, as you know. Had a little bit of a different upbringing, growing up with broken families, parents not having usual jobs, moving pretty much every year, every other year, changing schools very often. But I also had like a really great upbringing that I'm really grateful for. I was exposed to a lot of things that many people aren't ever exposed to, and I was, exposed to those things at a very young age. Plant medicine being one of them, or just like reading good books like Seven Habits of Highly Successful People and Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Just having good conversations with parents, and so it wasn't the most, I guess, normal childhood or upbringing, but I'm very grateful for it. I feel like it's definitely what has made me who I am, which I'm grateful. I think for the most part, I'm proud of who I am. And obviously that is because of how I was raised. And yeah, that led me many, many years later to come to Bali, which I'm obviously very, very grateful that I did that, because otherwise we wouldn't be here. Alora wouldn't be here. And yeah, it's been quite the journey.
Yeah.
It's flown by, and also, it's been full of highs and lows.
Yeah. It's interesting re-listening to you share your story, because I would say it's definitely the thing that like most attracted me to you. And that really is just like the complete polarizing difference that was our upbringings, because
They couldn't be more different at all.
You had this like conscious upbringing of like people and parent figures in your life that were really big and prioritized personal development. And, as you said, like sitting with plant medicine. And, while I'm also very grateful for my upbringing, I had more of a conservative upbringing. So, obviously we'll go into how we met in a moment, but like that was one of the things that attracted me to you. It was so foreign to me.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things that even now I'm very grateful for, because I think that you and I both get to experience the dynamics that maybe we didn't have growing up that we probably wish we had in many ways.
Yeah.
Like I remember growing up, all I really wanted was to have like a family that was normal, like two parents, which, like I said, I'm very grateful that I didn't have that. It's led to many blessings, but being able to now like really experience that with you and your family. And I know for you, there's things about my family that you feel like you didn't have growing up that you love and appreciate. And I think that that's, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's good.
It is good. So take me back 4.5 years ago now, which is wild to say out loud. It's like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
Take me back 4.5 years ago to you making the decision and getting on a plane.
Look, so I grew up traveling internationally a decent amount. I had been to Costa Rica, had been to Belize, been to a couple other places with my parents, my mom. And I think that naturally just like planted the seed of wanting to travel. She also had like come to Bali 20 something years ago, went to Ibiza and Barcelona and all these places. And I think that kind of just made me want to travel naturally. In the midst of this whole like digital revolution and people working online and being able to adopt this digital nomad lifestyle, I just instantly knew, I was like, that's what I want. I didn't even know really where I wanted to be. I just knew that like I wanted the freedom. Like freedom is probably my number one value.
Yeah.
Just being able to do what I want, where I want, with who I want, when I want to. Not fully there yet, but that's the goal always. And so I knew that I wanted to travel. So I committed myself to figuring out, well, how do I make money online? Because I don't want to travel for a month at a time and then have to spend the other 11 months out of the year saving up to do that. That doesn't sound like fun. I want to be able to take my work with me wherever I go. So I committed to figuring out how to make that happen. It took me probably 5 years of trying different business models while obviously working odd jobs, 9 to 5s, doing whatever I had to do in the meantime. And as soon as I had the ability to financially, the freedom, as soon as I got my first successful online business up and running, I knew. I went to Mexico for a month. That was amazing. I came home and literally just was not happy. I spent probably a month being home before I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Again, I'm grateful for my upbringing. I'm grateful for home. I'm grateful for California, for many things. But I wasn't fully happy. And so as soon as I could, I booked a one-way flight to Bali and I was initially intending to come for a month, but I kind of secretly deep down knew that like I just wanted to live there. I mean, it was on my vision board for months and probably a year before that, like living nomadically, specifically in Bali, because at the time everybody was talking about how it was a great place to network with like-minded people, which is what I felt like I was lacking the most back home. It was just like people that understood who I was and what I wanted to do. So as soon as I could, I came, and greatest decision I ever made.
Which, let me take it back for you guys, just so you can put a timestamp on it. So we're talking like the beginning of 2021. We're very much still in like the peak of COVID. And just to like infuse Joshy's story and my story, I had 2 years on me in Bali prior to you and I meeting. So I had actually moved to Bali around 2019, and I had known Bali pre-COVID. And it is so wild because obviously I saw the journey of, what Bali went through, and then kind of, enter early 2021. And it was just like the time that you came into the picture. And it was really, and we'll talk a little bit about this now, but for those of us that have lived here and have been very grateful to live here, it was the best time to live in Bali. It was, it kind of removed all the noise and removed a lot of the tourism. And I feel like Bali really returned back to its like natural state. And it's interesting because I remember wanting to go on a trip back home to Australia. And I guess COVID went through one of its like newest lockdowns. And I remember it was like, I was in this period of like, do I go? Do I not? Do I go? And it was like around February. And then, as I said, it went through another lockdown. And lo and behold, we're entering March 2021 and we meet. Mm-hmm. And I would love for you to tell this story because I take way too long to share this story. So I'm going to throw the ball in your court to just like share with everyone where and how we met.
Yep. I'll try to give like the condensed version because there's a bunch of pieces in there, but it is a beautiful story. So I'll try to start with the beginning. So we obviously went to the same gym without knowing it, but we went to the sort of brunch get together that the gym put on. I went with a friend. I'm sitting at the table with my friend. Some random girl walks up and she says, "Hey, you guys should come hang out, blah, blah, blah. So-and-so, my friend, i.e. Talia, thinks your friend, me, is cute or whatever and like wants to talk to him." At the time I was talking to somebody else. I wasn't going to put myself in that situation. And so I declined. But my friend had like showed me your Instagram or something like that, and I saw like what you were doing and what you were about, and I was definitely interested. But we didn't talk at all. Fast forward maybe 5 days later, 3 days later, something like that, I went to the same friend's birthday party at a place in Canggu, and like immediately when I walk in, I see you at the table. And my first thought was like, oh no, this is the girl that's into me. Like I'm going to have to try to avoid her because I don't want to put myself in that situation. And it maybe took you 30 minutes. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly, before you kind of caught on to me trying to avoid you.
Actively avoid me, guys.
I wasn't actively avoiding you, but I was just keeping my distance because I didn't want to start a conversation that I was going to be interested in.
Yeah.
And you literally walked up to me and you said word for word, you said, "I feel like you're ignoring me." And I remember I was like, I'm not ignoring you. I just, I think I just openly shared the truth with you, which is like, I'm seeing somebody and, like I don't, out of respect for them. And I think looking back on it now, knowing that apparently you didn't actually ever even see me at that first brunch.
So let's just pause this story real quick. So the flip side of all of this is I I didn't even know that, I guess, Joshua's friend shared about my Instagram profile. I had no idea that like Joshua knew that like and I still to this day don't even really remember. And I believe to my core that the friend of yours actually got somehow like was another girl or somebody else. Clearly he showed you my Instagram, but we just never spoke. And so here we are rocking up to the mutual friend's birthday party, and I have no idea or no understanding why you're ignoring me. So I just think you're being flat out rude.
Yeah.
I just think you're being flat out rude. And I, openly
That
said
makes
to you, like,
sense.
why are you ignoring me? And yeah, as you said, upon reflection,
Yeah.
it's a wild
Yeah.
misunderstanding.
It is a misunderstanding, but it also like led to everything happening the way that it did, which
Yeah.
I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
So we ended up having, I don't know, a 15, 20-minute conversation. It was great. And we ended up just going our separate ways. We didn't exchange contacts or anything. But then I think maybe another 3 days later, I had broken things off with the previous girl that I was seeing. And I was driving to dinner to have dinner with myself, as I did back then. And as I'm deciding between the two places that I went to pretty much every night, I literally had the thought. I said to myself, if Talia is out right now, would she be more likely to be at La Brisa or La Vela? And I just took the left. I said, La Vela. And so I drove, I went. I sat at the bar talking to the guys that work there as I did. And behind me walked in your friend, Nicole.
Yeah.
That was also at the mutual friend's birthday dinner. And I was like, she's either going to meet a guy here or she's probably going to meet Tal. And so I went and sat behind her on the beach just to position myself right. And as I'm sending my friend Ryan a video telling him to come meet and check out the beach and the restaurant, as I'm panning over the beach, you literally walk up and you see me as you sit down. We say hi. I think at the time I didn't even really realize that I like instantly somehow manifested that. I just was, I don't even know, in shock a little bit, I guess. But also by divine doing, Nicole didn't feel good and she was under the weather and sick, and so she left after about half an hour, and then we spent the next 4 hours probably sitting under the cabana talking and learning a lot about each other. And then I think we spent like the next 2 years together without taking
We've been
more
inseparable since.
Yeah.
It's just like wild re-listening to our story. And of course, for you guys, I always want it to be, as I said earlier, this isn't like just an interview or just another episode. It's really both of us candidly sharing with you the insight into our relationship.
Yeah.
And while we are doing that, I want you guys to always see the value in what I think has helped us and challenged us along the way. And I think something that stands out to me about our story, baby, is that initially, I look back now, and if I had been afraid to kind of just openly and candidly, not come up to you and say like, oh, like, why is it that you're ignoring me? Obviously I did that because I was totally digging you. The side of my story, you guys, is literally Joshua walked into this place at our mutual friend's birthday party. It was the first time I literally saw him. He had seen me prior, but this is the first time I saw him. And I remember my whole soul, just my whole everything was just gravitated towards you. And in that moment, like my very, like, I guess, ignorant but higher self was like, you need to talk to this guy. And, the first thing I ever said to you was like, why are you ignoring me? But I see now upon reflection that thank God I did that, because it's like ask and you shall receive, talk and you should be seen, and if I had never done that, maybe we would never have connected that night the way that we did.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, a few days later, going towards you completely manifesting. Just so you guys know, there are so many places you could go to in Bali, particularly in Canggu alone. And that night you literally stumbled upon the place that I ended up going to with no connection. We never exchanged numbers, nothing. That was just divine intervention.
Yeah.
So now that you've shared a little bit about how we met, I really just want to fast track everyone in our first year of our relationship, because our circle knows this and our beautiful friends know this. We journeyed hard, we journeyed fast. You know, when we knew, we knew. And that's obviously not the reality of every relationship. But
Yep.
for us, you know, everything unfolded really quickly. I think we were living together within a month of meeting.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were also journeying through COVID, you know, and within 6 months of being together, we were traveling the world together. So can you just take through everyone, you know, a little bit of our first year traveling,
Yeah.
you introducing me to plant medicine, you know?
First of all, there probably is like no other greater test for a couple, or at least a new couple, than like traveling together. Like I mean, I think we were more like 8 months in at that point, maybe, or I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but we were still fairly fresh in our relationship. But then when you travel and you add like all of this external unknown and like opportunity for chaos, like you butt heads and you get frustrated at each other. And yeah, obviously it was full of so many highs, and like we still reminisce and look back on those days and those photos and just like have so much gratitude and joy. And we don't remember the challenging times, but there were definitely a lot of challenging times. We traveled for 4 months straight. 2 months in Europe, a month in Mexico, and then a month in California. If you're alone traveling for 4 months, living out of a suitcase, hopping around every 10 days, every week, like that in itself is stressful, let alone like doing that with somebody else that like just does things differently to you than you. Like you like to get to the airport 3.5, 4 hours early if you can, and you're a bit OCD and anal about that. I'm more willing to like show up a couple hours early, and like God forbid I miss my flight, I'll catch the next one, and that pisses you off. And you know, so like that's just one example of how like we are different. You know, and we ran into, you know, some issues like that multiple times traveling. But I will admit, like you do it right. And I probably
let us know, guys, what version are you? Are you the version that like, which is so wild, baby, because we literally are polar opposites in so many other areas. I'm more free flow and you are more of a stickler, which is wild. But please let us know, like, are you more like rock up at the airport 3 to 4 hours before, check in, what if something goes wrong, you've got time, settle in, go to Starbucks, have a coffee, or are you just like chaos, get to the airport and it's worked out? But yeah, that's one of the many, you know, I would definitely say the biggest thing in traveling in a new partnership is learning each other outside of your like comfortable environment. So you're either not in an environment or a routine of you're working, your living conditions, you're literally in the unknown every day, and you're learning and understanding the other person and their quirks and their differences and their attitudes and their behaviors. And that trip was a wild time for us. It was
so much fun. But like
we
you
learned
said,
a lot.
Anytime you open the door for like this unknown, like you're gonna have challenges. And I think the other thing that I'm really grateful for, other than the memories, is like just that experience. Like, just to caveat for a second here, there is no question, there's no doubt, like you have been the greatest teacher for me in my life. I've experienced the most amount of growth in these last 4.5 years, more than reading books and listening to podcasts and having mentors. Way more than that has been you in this relationship. And of course, like any other form of growth, the analogy I always use all the time is like muscle growth in the gym. That growth is incredibly uncomfortable. If you do it the right way, it hurts. It causes pain. And of course, like, you don't want to have a relationship that is only pain, because then what are you in it for? That doesn't sound fun. But I think the right relationship, at least, I don't know, for me, one of my ultimate values is growth. Freedom, number one, but like number two would probably be growth. And that's why I value like being challenged. I don't like it in the moment all the time when you challenge me, when you expect better of me. But I know in my heart and my soul, moments later, reflecting back on it, like, this is what I want. I remember literally asking for that or wanting that in my previous relationships. Like, I don't feel like I'm being challenged at all. Like, it's too easy.
Yeah.
Like, I want a woman who's gonna challenge me. And I got that. And first travel experience that we had was like a initiation into that. Obviously, like the first 6 months of a relationship was, but then the travel journey, was that even more so. And that's, I think, what I'm really grateful for, is it like it kind of set the tone a little bit for what our relationship has been,
Yeah.
which has been love, a lot of love, but also like growth,
Yeah.
which comes from challenge.
Yeah. And I think, our biggest, as you said, outside of freedom, our biggest expander and our biggest value collectively is growth.
Yeah.
I think, when you're in a partnership that both value growth so much, it is quite literally the most rewarding and liberating and challenging thing to go through, because it's not the thing that keeps you safe or comfortable.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of my ladies listening, I want to point this out. I know it's super important for me. am very fortunate, to have a beautiful circle of women today that are all mirrors of me to some degree. And one thing we have, we conversate in and we talk about is just like the beauty, but also the struggle in maybe being, a little bit more independent, calling forward, more assertive type of woman. And I think something that I've been so grateful but have also struggled with in moments is like fully embodying that and knowing that that version of myself can be loved, not just as a woman but also as a woman in a relationship. Because I think, and again, this is my podcast, this is my show, take it or leave it, but this is just my experience and my opinion. I think we're in a time today that there is new space and opportunity for a woman to be all that she is, right? And it's something you guys know I'm incredibly passionate about. We as women, we're multidimensional. So we're not just anymore, at least, the caretakers or the nurturers. And we're also not just the backbone. We are the front end. We have dreams, we have visions. And that type of woman comes with opinions and a very solid way of being. And so I want to just take the listeners there, because I know a lot of women are relating today, are really comfortable in that or are struggling with that. I want you to talk, baby, a little bit about as a man holding that and what that has done for you, because the expansion of who you are today, it's just been wild to watch. And obviously you're my person. I love you so much. And a big piece of that is I'm so in love with you being so growth minded. So can you speak a little bit to that, good and bad, the positives and the struggles that you've journeyed through being with not just a woman in that way, like myself or many of the women that may relate to this listening, but also coming into a relationship later in life and, partnered with somebody that is, relatively already built out. When we met, I just want to take you guys on a quick journey. This wasn't, we met in our 20s and we're like, coming fresh out of college and we're like figuring it out, because obviously both of our stories have been work all the jobs under the sun and do all of this and do all of that. When we met at a time where I had and was building a business and was very much in my entrepreneurial stage as a woman. So can you talk to everyone a little bit about that and how you've navigated that as a partner, but also as a male?
Well, we both know that like I definitely haven't gotten it right all the time. That's definitely been something that we've had a lot of conversations about, just like having that real, radical, full love and acceptance for all of each other. I want to say, like, I don't think this is specific to women or men. Like, I also have a feminine side to me. I can be emotional or sensitive, and you've had to learn how to hold and love and appreciate that in the same way that I've had to learn how to hold and appreciate your I don't even want to label it as masculine, but the rigidness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to start with that. Like, I don't think either of us are perfect in this regard, but it's something that we definitely actively work on, and ideally will continue to work on forever. But it is very important, and I've learned through having these conversations with you how important it is. And I also think it's important to somewhat like normalize the difficulty of this, because I'm sure there are many couples that are like maybe in similar dynamics, and I think it's normal. Like, I don't want to give the impression that like you need to love everything about your partner and that it should be super easy, because I don't think that's true.
Or realistic.
Like, there are going to be things about your partner that just drive you crazy and that aren't easy to love, that make you want to pull your eyebrows off.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. Both your
Joking.
eyebrows?
No, totally joking. But like, there are things that are challenging, and you have to lean in and love unconditionally. And this is something that we also talked about, early days. And I will just say it, like, I'm not really I haven't always been like a full believer in unconditional partnerships, meaning like no matter what happens, we will stay together. But I am a firm believer in unconditional love, which means no matter what you do, I will always love you, right? I think the difference in like unconditional love and unconditional partnerships, which I know that like maybe we haven't always seen eye to eye on this, but I also believe that you do understand and you agree that like the partnership isn't unconditional. There are things that I could do that would make you leave.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't, like, no matter what, stay with me.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that goes all the way back to like your inner child and what it was that was modeled to you ultimately, because again, coming back to what we said before, we were displayed two very different ways of union and partnership, and dare I say love. So
Definitely.
we can pull the best and the worst from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely something that I, as a girl that was raised with parents that are together at 40 years almost,
Yeah.
one union, one relationship, it's definitely something that I have had to lean in and learn a lot from you. Unconditional love is absolutely a no-brainer. Unconditional partnership is, again, takes work, and it's not, there's boundaries and there's limits to it.
Yeah. And I think the kind of, to play the devil's advocate a little bit, the danger in my belief, or what I just said about, like unconditional partnership not being something I believe in is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would agree with that, but the danger in that is using that as an easy out to convince yourself that it's not the right thing, that it's not the right partnership.
Yeah.
You have to be honest with yourself about like, what is that boundary? What is that line? Like, what for me is like the non-negotiable, like, I don't accept this thing. Only you can decide that. And we all have the free will to decide whatever that is. Like, I could decide that if you ever had blue hair, I just couldn't be. That would never be a boundary of mine, but I have the free will and the right to decide that, right? As silly as that is, that example. But I think the danger in what I said is like allowing that, like I said, to justify your decision in leaving a relationship just because it's difficult.
Yeah.
Which is, and I will say this, like, that's what I grew up around.
Yeah.
Couples or parents and people that I knew and loved and grew up with and were raised by, like, calling it quits because it got tough. And that is something that I really love and respect about your parents, because I'm sure they've had their own trial and tribulations, but they're 30 plus years strong.
Yeah.
I didn't really grow up with a lot of those examples.
Yeah.
And so, our relationship, again, has just been a journey of me, like, of course, honoring like my truths and my beliefs, but also like being open to like new, different ways of doing things. And that sort of like radical commitment and unconditional love, and not unconditional partnership, but like as close to it as you can get, like just true devotion, where like you can look at your partner and you could say, like, I love you enough that I'm willing to work through almost anything.
Yeah.
There is not much that would make me give up
Yeah.
and quit.
We travel and we're together a year and a half at this point. I do want to do a massive shout out to our Bali community. I know our friends always say that you guys have given us, the belief that you can really make a relationship work when you've literally come from, two separate sides of the world. Because, guys, when you live abroad and whatnot, and you step out of the bubble that which is the people you knew, the people you grew up with, and chances are you probably end up somewhere amongst that circle with them later in life. You enter the world of entrepreneurship and you travel the world and you meet people that you never thought you would meet. And I think the blessing in that is you could possibly meet somebody that you would never have met. There is no way in any lifetime, or at least in this lifetime, that we would have ever met if it wasn't for the both of us having courage and like stepping into, traveling. So
Yeah.
we're a year and a half in, we've traveled, we've deepened our relationship. Maybe we can come back to this a little bit towards the end, but we've journeyed a little bit deeper with plant medicine. And I feel like that could be maybe an episode for another time, because that in itself,
It's a big conversation.
With people that we really love and respect today, and how that ultimately, I think, really shifted us at a whole new level.
I will just say real quick, we don't have to go deep into the plant medicine journey, but I did Bufo. We did Bufo.
Yeah.
3 times.
Can you just share with everyone, just in a sentence, what Bufo is? Because a lot of people are like, Joshy, what is Bufo?
Bufo is a form of DMT.
Yeah.
Okay. That you smoke. It's a plant medicine. Comes from a frog.
Yeah.
But it's DMT. People call it the God molecule. And it's very difficult to explain what it does or what it feels like.
Full disclaimer, this is not a party drug. It is a much deeper
I guess
rooted.
you could. It would be a weird party
Yeah.
if you did that.
Yeah.
It's many people view it as a medicine.
Yeah.
I guess it's not a plant medicine. It's technically an animal medicine. But regardless, we've journeyed with it 3 times together. And every time I had the same reaction. And I think it's just interesting. It's telling. We're on the conversation of love and relationships and commitment and all this. They say that like the Bufo, the DMT really like disassociates you from your body and your ego and your mind. It's like you just turn into pure soul.
Yeah.
Is kind of the way it's explained, at least in my understanding. And so with that, there's not really like a way to put a mask or a filter on your expression, meaning like you are your purest form of yourself when you interact with Bufo. At least in my experience, I have been. And every time I've done it, I have looked at you and started crying like a baby. Literally. I don't even remember the last time I've cried like that, other than maybe when I was a child. And it was every single time, it was just like a pure love and gratitude, and just like, yeah, you get emotional thinking about it, but just like how grateful I am for you and to have found you. And yeah, it's good stuff. It's good shit, mate. I reflect on those moments because, as we've talked about, as we've shared, like relationships do get tough. They require a lot of work and commitment. We've had some of our toughest times in the last 2 years, obviously through the journey of parenthood, on top of traveling and living abroad and entrepreneurship. You just pile all that stuff together, and still, for the most part, like a relatively new relationship. 4 years is not much in the grand scheme. Like, we still learn things about each other today.
Yeah.
And so we're still pretty much at the beginning, and you pile all that stuff on top of each other, and like, yeah, you're gonna have shit come up.
Yeah.
And I think back often about those moments on Bufo, and I know to my core that like that version of me that was there for those moments was me.
Yeah.
Was 100% me. There was no trauma, no ego, no mask, no filter, none of that. And in those moments, I knew, I was like, this is my person, and I'm so grateful for this person. So much so that I'm going to cry like a baby.
He's not joking, guys.
Not
Literally
joking. Yeah.
weeping.
Felt good.
I just really want to, something that I really respect and love about you, and I think want to give a voice to. You mentioned it before about the holdings and the duality, the other side of being a male, which is really the feminine version of being a male. And I hate saying that in this time of just like the women hold the masculine version and then the men hold the feminine. It's individually, male and female, we are both of it all the time.
Yeah.
We have both of it. And something I've always admired about you is the safety around your softness and the willingness to not be this stern, hard ass, like I'm put together and I'm not tapped into my emotions and feelings. And that's just been incredibly beautiful to witness, at times really challenging for me to hold, because I did not know that type of male growing up. But I just really can't echo enough. Really want you guys to hear that, both Josh and I, we're not advocating or trumping now what you just heard and going sit with plant medicine and learn more about Bufo and what is this and blah, blah, blah. But if there's one thing I could say today that has been such an expander for our relationship, it's been tapping out of the modalities, which is just like the work, and, connecting with nature, connecting with mama, and being able to remove the ego, the filter, the mask, the logic, the brain, the heart, and first and foremost connecting with yourself first and your natural state. Which is, if you guys know Joshy in person, which not many of you won't, but for those that do, you are just this beautiful, amazing goofball at heart. And I think it's just such a beautiful thing about you. And, at the core, I'm just like a big ball of expression.
You are.
So we can, we could be here on this episode, for hours, and I will bring Joshy back on the show because there really is so much we can talk about. But as we kind of veer in towards the back end of our current life and talking about expression and who we've become today, we're now arrived at the point where we find out that we're pregnant. And what a freaking ride, baby.
Yeah.
Because everything we're talking about right now, it's like you can go through your relationship and then you journey and you create this little version of you.
Yeah.
That is going to just, you weep now over how you felt. Like we weep every day. Our daughter's sleeping and we still go through videos and photos of her because we love her so much.
Yeah.
Like the weep because this next level love that you feel for a child is something you've never experienced. And equally at the same time,
the
challenge of being a parent.
Yeah.
So let's just go there. So we fall pregnant August 2022. What a journey. And I will say this, like my pregnancy was actually relatively good. I was very, very blessed to have not gotten sick in the ways I know a lot of women do. For many women that have journeyed through pregnancy or are pregnant right now, I see you. I love you. It's wild. The work started post our beautiful girl being born.
Yeah.
So
continued.
Yeah. So May 2023, our beautiful daughter came into the world. We had 9 months to gear up, and in that time we both had to stretch. We went through a lot of things individually, getting ourselves ready with our businesses, finances, preparation, not preparation. Like it was wild. But our beautiful girl came into the world 15th of May, and it's just been a wild ride since. I'm going to let you kind of take the reins on this, around what parenthood and fatherhood has really been for you.
Now we're coming into the point with her, she's learning how to speak and how to be independent, and she's aware that she is her own person, and therefore she wants to do things on her own and in her own way and on her own schedule, with not a lot of urgency when we have it, and then a lot of urgency when we don't have it. And yeah, I think now we're at this point with her where I have come to realize, and again with gratitude, but like our relationship, yes, we have grown individually from it, and I'm very grateful for that and how I've grown from it. But more than anything, it's just prepared me for parenthood.
Yeah.
Because again, like we said earlier, like a relationship, it doesn't matter if it's romantic or a business or child parent relationship, it is going to challenge you. It
Yeah.
is going to frustrate you at
Yeah.
times, and it's going to be difficult.
Test your patience.
And, you know, or with a child, like, of course, it's going to challenge you, but, you know, you don't exactly get to decide. The decision is made. It's like, this is, I guess, the one situation in which, like, the unconditional partnership kind of is a thing,
Yeah.
where it's like, no matter what this child does to me, I can't just leave it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you
Yeah.
know, our relationship, I feel like, has prepared us both for this journey, and just learning how to deal with that and how to love somebody fully. She's very, very easy to love. Of
Yeah.
course, we've been so blessed. Like, she's the most amazing little angel in the world. But like any human,
Yeah.
like, you know, she has her things about her.
Yeah.
And I guess like any human in the world, like when you spend 24/7 with them, eventually you get to a point where you're like, I don't want to spend a few minutes with you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you need your break.
With love.
Yeah, with so much love.
Yeah.
This journey for me so far is like, it's just been another level and another evolution of like learning about myself, also learning about other people, learning how to hold other people. And, the three of us are kind of in this triangle where I take lessons from her and I's relationship and I get to apply it to you and I's relationship, and then vice versa. Lessons that I've learned already from you or continue to learn from you, I'm either already having to apply those to my relationship with Alora, or I know 100,000% this is something that will come up with her and I in the future one day.
Yeah.
Or ideally it doesn't come up because I'm a master at it, but that's a stretch. More gratitude than anything. It's more love and joy and appreciation than anything. But like anything that is great, there are challenging moments, I think.
And I think, the journey for me becoming a mother and like, stepping into parenthood has been this like deep self-love practice all over again.
Yeah.
Because you see this little thing that you have quite literally created. Maybe prior to being a mother, it is easy to kind of beat yourself up for all the things that you are. But when you have a child, that might last for a moment, and very quickly you snap out of it because you're like, would I want her to think this way? Like, would I want her to have these thoughts about herself like I'm having about me right now? And it really is. I never understood it before with, those that were parents in my life, but just like, it's, if you are willing, it is a journey where it's just like a returning home to yourself, a self-love practice, whilst also remembering that you are literally raising this unique, I hear this all the time. Everyone's like, obviously they're my child. She's my daughter. She's my son. They're parts of you. But I think one thing you and I love, and we love talking about Alora, is like, she is uniquely herself outside of you and I. And I think that's something that we get to foster a lot more around being parents, because I know for me, at least personally, that's something I would have desired and would have loved a lot more. It's like, I'm not my mom. I'm not my dad. I'm me.
Yeah.
And that is a real challenging thing to do as a parent, especially now being that we're both one. It's like it's a tough gig.
Yeah.
So, for me, just the parenthood chat, it's been a wild journey, and one that I feel like for a split moment I got really right. And then it's like, oh my God, that lesson or that patience. Like, you want to take a minute or 50 minutes to just open and shut that door. It's just like the mundane energy of just sitting in it and being like, practice the presence of this little child figuring out what it is that they want to do. It literally will push you to your edges. And equally at the same time, I have never, ever loved or have found more joy in anything I've ever done than being a mother.
Yeah. Same.
If there is one piece of advice you could give our parents that are listening, or even parents to be that are listening, what is that advice, baby, that you would give?
I think it's like give each other grace. It's like, try to give you grace when you're having a challenging time. I try to give her grace when she's being impatient or having a fussy moment, but then also give myself grace. Like if I'm impatient and I make a mistake, then it's like just giving yourself that grace. It's like, okay, you know, maybe I made a mistake. I shouldn't have reacted in that way, but like I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I'm aware of it, number one, but like, and I also get to make a decision right now to like fix this and or like be aware of this next time so that I don't make the same mistake.
Yeah.
Because it is very easy. It's very easy when you're in the middle of life, as we all are, you know, whether it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, if you work a 9 to 5, if you're still in a relationship or not in a relationship, like you're still going to have your life as your individual. And then you have your child that like depends on you, that needs you for everything or doesn't want you for anything. But it can be very tough, and naturally like you might slip up.
Yeah.
I know I have. Like I've reacted in ways that I told myself I would never react like that. I would never get that impatient or that frustrated. And that's something that I've had to, you know, just try to give myself a little bit of grace around, because ultimately we've never done this before. We're figuring it out for the first time. And I like to think that like every day goes by and we're getting better at it and we're learning how to manage these things. But then the funny thing about parenthood is like the second you learn how to manage something, they're already on to the next thing. And they already have a new way of challenging you and testing you. And, you know, so this will be a lifelong journey of like learning and figuring out and then applying in the same way that a relationship is. It's the same exact thing. It's like as soon as we figure out how to heal something or navigate something, then something new arises. And then we're back to figuring that out and learning again. But yeah, the piece of advice is just like, just give each other grace. The three of you or the four of you, however many there are, is like,
absolutely.
Just give each other grace. And the most important thing is just like, remember that no matter how tough and challenging these moments are, like these are still the exact very moments that you're going to look back on and cherish and love and miss
and want back.
And you would probably trade anything for. To just have these moments back. And we don't always get that right, but I think we do a good job of just remembering that, like, yes, we have our individuality and we have our missions and we have these things and these businesses and these things that we want to do and that we will continue to work on. We're not going to just throw those things to the wayside and not give them any attention, of course. This is the stuff that matters.
It's literally the journey. It really is the journey of life.
It's the most rewarding.
It is. And even just like talking about parenthood right now and visualizing our beautiful girl, it really is just it's the best thing that you can do, because we are literally raising the next generation. And definitely right now, many would say that our generation has it, while we are exposed to and have access to so much today. I would say this generation of ours, in many ways have it the hardest because of what the generations to come are coming into. And that is, I mean, we can speak just very briefly on that right now as we kind of wrap it up. But the thought of Alora's generation as she grows as a 10-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, as she becomes a mother one day, and where our world is going. I'm excited, and I very much look forward to where our world is going. It's like, wow, like what? And also like,
woof.
Woof.
For
the sake of today's show, baby, we've obviously touched on a lot, and we've been together 4.5 years, but it has felt like 10. As I kind of close out with everyone, I wanted to ask you, as a partner, as a parent, as a man in this world, what are you inspired by right now? Like, what are you excited about?
Two different questions. Like, I'm excited to just continue this journey that we're already on. That's what I'm excited by. Well, I think right now the thing that I'm inspired by the most, although I don't do the greatest job always of showing it or acting on it, I think the thing I'm inspired by the most right now is Alora. and just like really seeing, obviously we were all at that age and at that point in our lives where we embodied that ourselves, but it's been a long time. It's been 30 plus years since I was her age, and seeing it and reliving it through a different lens is inspiring to just see, like, she's got no fear. No fear. She doesn't give two F's. She will do her goofy dance moves in the middle of a restaurant in full expression. She will scream and cry in full expression
Yeah.
when she feels that, regardless of what's happening around her. She will demand things of us, and she doesn't want to wait for them. She wants them now, you know? But she'll also just like fully love and forgive. That's something I'm super inspired by. Like, you know, one of us shows frustration or get irritated, and then she still is more than happy and loving to just like jump in arms and give us a kiss and say, I love you, mommy, love you, daddy. Like, there's full forgiveness there. There's full unconditional love. There's full joy, but then there's also full expression, whatever she's feeling in the moment. And that's something that like am terrible at. Like, I am not fully expressed. I like am worried, like, what do people think of me? Or like, I don't want to be annoying, or like, I don't want to be loud, or I don't want to, you know. So like in public, I would never dare to just like get up and dance in the middle of the room and like shake a booty like she does. That's her favorite thing to say, shake a booty. Shout out to Nona for teaching her that. But yeah, I think that's what I'm also inspired by you in the same way, because I mean, you're the reason why she is that way, I think and believe. But also it's just like an inherent child trait.
Totally.
To just like be yourself.
Yeah.
Which I really do believe, like, if there was one thing that I could just cast a spell on humanity, I think it would just like that. It would just be that. It would just like, if everybody was themselves fully, then we would probably not have nearly as much judgment, because we would realize that like we're all weird, we're all quirky, we're all different, we're all unique in our own ways. We all have the same range of emotions. We all love hard, but get angry, but laugh hard. Like, I mean, I would hope to think that everybody's had some solid belly laughs in their life. Like, we're all the same is like what kids understand.
Yeah.
Like, they're not afraid until a later age of judgment, because they're not judging people, because they're just they're just being fully present. That's like
gold,
what inspires
right?
me.
That's the mirror of like, why do we feel so scared of judgment? And it's this honesty, and you hear me say it all the time to my girls, of like, it's because you're judging others. It's because somewhere. And I just like love everything you said. I mean, just the piece of, as parents, giving ourselves grace. It's such an important one, because we really do, even if we're doing it behind closed doors, you know, as parents, we really beat ourselves up for just like, I need to be doing a better job. I need to be doing a better job. It's like, you are doing a great job in the moment with what you know and what you have.
Yeah.
And then I think the other piece, and this is something you've always said to me, actually from the very beginning, and you've, you know, shared with our friends, which is, I don't think we're teaching our children. I think our children are teaching us.
100%.
And I've loved that. And now that we obviously are parents with this beautiful child, she's teaching us every single day. And as adults, we've lost our way, right?
Yeah.
We go from being these beautiful, unique, totally expressed children.
Yeah.
And the world then starts, and this sounds so tacky and so cheesy and cliche, you guys, but like, the world then starts to tell us who we are, or people as we get older start to tell us who we are. So it's a big reason why I'm doing this, of just like returning back to like who we are and being fully expressed and honest and conversating, not in this textbook way, but in just like the most truest, realest way.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen to that.
We talk behind closed doors all day, every day. This is something you guys may not know about us, but actually one of our highest values that we both love is we love conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes more often you than me.
Fair.
Joshy's fun fact, you guys, he loves talking about the galaxy. He loves talking about the universe.
Anything strange. Yeah.
But I just, in this light, I've loved doing this, and I would love to have you back on. I think whether you know this or not, you bring a lot of value and your heart is pure and beautiful. And I want to say this on the show. A big reason why I am able, has been challenging in moments, but I'm able and continue to stay rooted in, you know, not just becoming a mother, but still staying passionate and in and on purpose in my vision today as a woman, is because of you. It's very special. And I think it's something that for us women, whatever way it is, but I really want to call, if you're in partnership, I want to call my men and women forward in knowing that it isn't just about love. It's not just about forgiveness. It's not just about relating, intimacy, all the things that make a relationship. It's about holding your partner to a standard that of who they truly are and what they're capable of and what they want to do in this crazy freaking world. And maybe for some of you, that is really just, you know, going through the motions, being a mama, being a papa, you know, working your job, whatever it looks like. But for those of you that feel like what I'm saying, I'm really speaking to your soul right now, I really want to call you forward in knowing that we always just get to do a better job in seeing our person, our companion, our partner in all the ways.
Yeah.
And it's not always been easy, but I want to say thank you so everyone knows and owns that you get the credit, that I'm only here and I would like to continue to be doing the work that I do today because of you.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm absolutely not going to take that credit. I think that you deserve it all, but I appreciate your words.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Just as grateful as you are.
Yeah.
And just real quickly on the back end of what you were saying, it requires two people to like have that same level of awareness and commitment. So like if you're somebody out there who, you know, if you can't have those type of conversations or these conversations with your partner, and it's something that's important to you, like that growth or that commitment or whatever, like you need to honor yourself in that. And I know that like it is pure, we are only here, you and I together, and Alora's only here because you and I made that conscious decision. And it was tough. You had to get divorced. I had to leave my entire family and friends behind and everything that I knew. Like we both made incredibly tough decisions to honor ourselves, to know that like, you know, there was something else out there for us. While everything I said earlier is 100% true to me, like you need, you know, when you find that person and you know it's them, like it's not going to be easy and you still have to fully commit and lean into the discomfort and the growth. But like if you're not, like you have to lean into the discomfort, into the challenge of finding that person. And you cannot do this on your own. Like you cannot have, in my opinion, you cannot have one conscious person who's like trying to propel the relationship forward and like who has the vision of being this whole family that is committed to each other and giving each other grace and loving compassionately and holding space. And then the other person is completely just like in their own world and like that doesn't work in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so like I'm grateful to myself for being here, for putting in the work, and I'm grateful to you for putting in the work and doing that with me. But more than anything, I'm just grateful that we're both willing to do that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, again, it doesn't mean that it's like it's always easy and like, oh, we're just doing the work and it's super easy. Like, yes, it's still tough, but in the toughest moments, whether it takes 10 minutes or if it takes 5 days or 10 days to reflect and be like, no, this is what I'm committed to and I will stand by this no matter what, you know, that's what it takes.
Yeah. Amen, baby.
Yeah.
What a conversation. If there's anything that you guys got from, you know, our chat today, we both really hope that it is knowing that, and I think I've said this like 5 different times on just this episode alone, it's not easy work, it's rewarding work. Anything worth having takes constant commitment, effort, and dedication. It doesn't matter what we're talking about here. Relationship, business, your job, your career, whatever it is, it takes constant effort, dedication, and commitment. And, you know, you highlighted so beautifully as we wrap out, you guys, like there really is moments where you might feel that it may not get better for you in some area in this moment, right? Like there's something that you feel so deeply stuck in some area of your life right now. I just want to remind you and free you of just like rip that Band-Aid off, free yourself from that like heaviness. And it may seem easier than it is, but just do the goddamn thing, whether it is get out of the relationship that isn't serving you. Step into the relationship you know you deeply desire. Start that career, that idea, that business, that whatever that you know you want to. And stop sitting in this just like analysis paralysis, right? Because ultimately it actually is so much harder energetically to be in that space, you know, and before you know it, you blink 2, 5, 10, 20 years have gone by. When we're at the end of our life, we're only going to wish that we just had that little bit more courage. And you know, I just really want to end it here, guys, before I ask Joshy some fun, loving questions. If there's anything you need to remember, 2 things, in my opinion. Awareness is your superpower. You have to be aware, right? You have to be aware of what you're changing, choosing, getting rid of, calling in, always. And I believe this one's underrated, but we all just need to have a little bit more courage. We need to have a little bit more courage to do the things that we need, to say the things that we want, to act on the things that ultimately fulfill our hearts and give us a life worth living, because what is it all about otherwise, right?
Yep.
So
hit me.
I don't know how long this episode was. I'm scared to look at the time. Oh, it was much longer than we thought. I want to end asking you 3 fun, loving questions.
Okay, I'll keep it short.
Yeah, real short. Well, they're short, but first one, purely, I've said this on the show before, baby. Obviously, I'm Italian. I've told everyone that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, secret about me, I love my food.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite food, baby?
Sushi. 100%.
I knew that.
Yeah, I could eat a bunch.
Your Japanese roots right there.
Yeah.
Second question. What would you tell your younger self today?
I think as a kid, I was always so focused on growing up. I wanted to be an adult. I wanted to start businesses. Like I was always very entrepreneurial. I just was like constantly thinking about the future, and I still do that. So as a kid, if I could go back, I'd just be like, you just need to play more, bro. Just like have more fun. Like I loved playing sports, but like eventually I got to the age where like I stopped doing that and instead like would work on businesses or ideas or whatever, and like I just stopped having fun. So I think just have more fun.
That's good.
Yeah. And like maybe I had the idea when I was in high school. I was like, I should probably just like run away from home since my mom won't let me drop out of high school. So I think maybe I would have done that. Just like run away and drop out.
Imagine where your life might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, baby, if time and money were no issue in your life right now, what would you be doing?
The same thing I'm doing right now. Yeah. Like I could never be the type of person that is just like retired all the time.
Yeah.
Every day. No way in hell. So I would be building something business wise because I just have so much passion and joy around that. And I would spend every other second being as present as possible with my family. Yeah. Which I feel like I'm already doing. Yeah. So like that's a good answer. I already live my life like that. And naturally I think as I get older, I'll spend less time building things and more time with family. And yeah, I mean, we have a pretty good life. Like we do a decent amount of traveling. We don't have a rigid schedule that we have to stick to and wake up at 5 o'clock for, although I do it intentionally. But like, yeah, there's not a whole lot I would change, you know?
Yeah. Super grateful. Messy magic every day between parenthood and relationship and building businesses. But for the most part, we are very, very, very lucky.
Yeah.
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 Well, I love you.
One final piece, just because you said something that's important. I know I'm a rambler, but this is so important, okay? If you are listening to this right now, you have to understand how like ridiculously lucky you are. And you are part of like a tiny percentage of people in the world that like have not just the technology and the ability to like listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube show, but the freedom mentally to care about devoting an hour of your time to doing that. Like, there are so many people in the world that have to spend their entire waking day just surviving. And so if you on the other end of this are like, you're watching this and you listen to this, like, understand how like ridiculously lucky you are, and then like realize what a mistake it would be to just squander and waste that opportunity, because there are millions of people right now that aren't in your shoes that would just die and kill to have the opportunity that you have to just like, you know, for the most part, we in the Western world, we get to think about whatever we want to do. It's like, what do we want to do? And then we get to act on that.
Yeah.
Whereas so many people are like, what can I do?
Yeah.
What can I do? And for many of them, it's like, I can walk to get my water and survive.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, yeah, that's something I think about a lot. Is like just how ridiculously lucky I am, and turn that awareness, like you said, into courage, like you said, to like make something of it, to do something with that, to like not be afraid or just like stuck in this analysis paralysis. Like, just get out and do and live and be and like make the most of it. Because there might come a day when we don't have that.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people in the world today as well that were born with the same freedoms that we have that don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
That like would die and kill to be back in these shoes. And so that's just the last thing is like, amen. Thank you for like watching this. I'm super, super excited to see where you take this thing. And I'm like extremely proud of you and what you've already done. Like, look at this setup that you've put together and like all the action that you've taken imperfectly and like instantly. Talia is like, you put an idea in her head and like 5 minutes later, she's already done it and implemented it, which is great. But I'm super happy and proud for you.
Thanks.
And excited to see what comes of it. And yeah, for the listeners, like, learn from Tal and what she's doing right now, just like making the most of her opportunities.
I mean, you're talking right now, and honestly, I hope you guys have had a chance to just see the man behind the scenes. I know you didn't receive the compliment before, but I, again, can't say it enough. And also just what an amazing innovator and visionary and human that you are at the core, because you really are that, you know. I'm not in this alone, baby. So I love you. To you guys that are listening, even just hearing Joshy speak right now, I am so grateful that I get to be here for an hour, a couple of times a week, like actually doing this out of the total freedom of my time and my energy. It doesn't go unnoticed. It is something that I highly value. And, you know, if there's one thing I could ask you to do, it is, again, you know, not to be cheesy, but obviously the show here is called Made for More. And the reality is that you are freaking made for more, right? Like, I've always had and have lived by just do the shit imperfectly perfect, because in reality, guys, we're never really ever getting it right, whatever that means. And I am grateful to know and to feel in my heart, and even as a young girl, that when my life is said and done, the only thing I'm going to regret is not doing the things that I wanted to do. And if that means that just for a slight piece of me and the things that I want to do in this lifetime that have been put in my freaking heart, if there's a little piece of that impacts your life, this episode alone, what you go and do with that, like, my job here is done. My job here is done. So again, thank you. Giving a big shout out to Joshy. I'm excited to have him back on the show, because this man really is just a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And there's so much more that we can learn from him. For those of you that are tuned into this episode, let me know in the comments, like, what you learned about, what you received, what triggered you, what called you forward. As I said earlier, be sure to go connect with me over on my Instagram. And, you know, as I close out, remember that you are made for more. Do the thing imperfectly perfect. One foot in front of the other. And until next time, I will see you on the show. I love you guys.